The story begins in what seemed like the perfect home. The family had saved for years to buy it, a modest two-story house in a quiet neighborhood, where children could play in the yard and parents could finally breathe easy. But almost from the first night, something felt wrong. The house seemed to breathe, its walls creaking with a rhythm too deliberate to be coincidence. The air was unnaturally cold, even in summer, and lights flickered in patterns that made no sense. At night, faint scratching echoed from inside the walls, as if something small, or someone, was trapped within them. Shadows moved against the glow of the street lamp, sliding across walls with no figure to cast them. The family tried to rationalize, telling themselves it was an old house settling, but deep down, unease coiled in their stomachs. They had no idea they were stepping into one of the most infamous hauntings ever recorded. Within weeks, the disturbances intensified, transforming from eerie whispers into open attacks. Heavy furniture shifted overnight, dragging loudly across the wooden floors when no one was awake to hear it. Doors slammed shut so violently the frames splintered. The children grew pale, refusing to sleep in their bedrooms, insisting that the woman with hollow eyes came to stand beside their beds every night. One child claimed she heard a voice whispering her name, over and over, from the darkness of the closet. The parents began to fight under the strain, exhaustion carving deep lines into their faces as they tried to deny the impossible. The house, once a dream, had turned against them, and no amount of locks or prayers seemed to hold the darkness at bay. Terrified and desperate, the family contacted paranormal investigators. A team arrived with cameras, audio recorders, and equipment meant to measure the unexplainable. What they uncovered was worse than even the family had feared. On tape, disembodied voices hissed words no one in the room had spoken. Photographs revealed pale figures standing in doorways, their faces warped and unrecognizable. Objects moved on their own, witnessed by both believers and skeptics alike. A priest was summoned to bless the home, but during the ritual, the temperature plummeted. Candles extinguished themselves, and a crucifix hanging on the wall flew across the room, shattering against the floor. The investigators left shaken, unable to explain what they had witnessed. Many quietly admitted it was the most malevolent force they had ever encountered. News of the haunting began to spread beyond the neighborhood. Local reporters caught wind of the family's plight and published sensational stories of the cursed house. Soon, television crews and curious thrill seekers crowded the street outside, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. The family, once private, became unwilling celebrities, their pain plastered across headlines. Some dismissed them as frauds, accusing them of fabricating the story for attention. Others believed wholeheartedly, citing the chilling evidence collected by investigators. Whether skeptics or believers, one truth was undeniable. The haunting had captured the nation's attention. Hollywood producers saw the potential immediately. They reached out, offering to transform the family's ordeal into something unforgettable, a horror film that would spread their nightmare across the world. The transition from haunting to Hollywood was swift. Screenwriters devoured the case files, extracting every chilling detail from the family's accounts. While some moments were exaggerated for dramatic effect, the most terrifying events needed no embellishment. The whispers, the scratching in the walls, the figure with hollow eyes, the violent force that resisted every blessing. Those were all lifted straight from reality. When the film was released, audiences screamed in theaters, but for the family, it was no performance. The actors went home after filming. The crew left the set. But the real victims had lived through the torment, unable to walk away. The haunting, immortalized on film, became one of the most iconic horror stories of all time, leaving viewers to wonder how much was fiction and how much was too real to deny. Even after the film became a worldwide success, the haunting refused to end. The family eventually abandoned the house, leaving behind belongings they couldn't bear to retrieve. New residents reported strange happenings, footsteps in empty halls, objects vanishing, sudden icy drafts that chilled the bones. Some fled within weeks. Paranormal investigators who had once documented the house claimed they suffered nightmares for years, convinced that whatever entity lurked there had followed them home. Even the film itself wasn't immune. Cast and crew reported eerie accidents on set, with some convinced the curse had attached itself to the production. The line between reality and horror blurred forever. Today, skeptics dismiss the story as myth, while believers whisper that the haunting never truly ended. Some say it waits, not in the house, but in the memories of those who dared to tell its story. And, maybe, even in the hearts of those who dare to watch the film it inspired.